Namaste, welcome to Flow and Restore Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua, and for this practice, you'll want to have 2 yoga blocks, a strap, a blanket, and a bolster. Physically, we're going to focus quite a bit on opening the hips through external rotation or turning out the thighs. So let's begin in a gentle version of that. You may like to prop your pelvis up on any of your props that allows you to sit up a little taller, and you might even sit towards the front edge of that prop. And if you're feeling quite tight in the hips and your knees are lifting uncomfortably, you might even add another prop like a blanket on top of your pillow to get a little bit higher up. We've got 2 assistants today, Rosie and Poppy. They'll be moving around for your entertainment. And so take a moment to adjust how close together you are crossing your shins as you're turning out the thighs. So the closer the shins are crossed together, the easier this will be on the hips if you're feeling any tightness there. So play with that. And if you normally place one leg on top of the other when you're sitting cross-legged, try switching it up so that we can open up the other hip a little bit more. Take a moment to mentally arrive. So in the past few weeks, we've been exploring the niyamas, the second limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, which are personal practices to regularly do to connect to your true nature. And today we are on the 5th, the last niyama, and it's called Ishvara Pranidhana. Ish is translated as master or ruler. Vara is Sanskrit for to choose, and Ishvara means the spirit or higher power that you connect with, the divine intelligence that is your higher self. The guardians that tend your life, God, Buddha, sovereign, a deity, nature energy, that which you worship. And pranidhana means to give yourself over to dedicate yourself to. So Ishvara Pranidhana, and this is written by Gabrielle Harris, one of the 3 Kriya Yoga actions along with tapas, you might remember that from the earlier talks, and svadhyaya from last week, is alignment with the divine. It is the connection to your higher self or God-like nature that lies within the heart of each of us. The last of the niyamas, Ishvara Pranidhana, asks for humility, faith, and a deeper understanding of our place in the cosmos. To stand outside on a starry night and gaze at the stars, or to press our feet into a million grains of sand, reminds us of a greater force that pervades nature and lies within us. When we align with our supreme divinity, we step into grace. Pranidhana is the notion that we stop fighting the trajectory of our lives and leave some of the organization to our guardians. It doesn't mean we don't try to make plans or that we are a puppet to fate. It means we have faith that things will be as they are intended to be, and someone or something else is tied into directing a beautiful life for us. Sometimes, to live in ease, all we can do is choose to live with what is being presented. Your innate wisdom will guide you if you listen. It will point the way on how to deal with your situations. We don't have all the answers. We don't know how our life is going to project or play out. We can't see the future results of our present actions. So maybe the best thing we can do is to live our lives as best as we can with love and devotion to our work and relationships. Have faith and surrender to the divine wisdom within you. So a lot of this practice, Ishvara Pranidhana, brings up the word devotion, offering up to a greater purpose, the efforts, the actions, your practice. So let's begin to check in with ourselves. As you're sitting still and maybe closing your eyes, notice any sensations you're experiencing right now in your physical body. Becoming more aware of your physical state as you begin your asana yoga. Notice the quality of the breath without changing how you're breathing. In the breath, feel your energy. What's that like right now? Now notice your mind and heart. What's present for you right now mentally and emotionally? Let's begin to deepen the breath, filling up the lungs as you breathe in through the nose, and opening the mouth as you empty the breath. Breathing in a little deeper, and through the mouth, exhaling a little slower. As you continue to deepen the breath, take a moment to practice gratitude, reflecting on anything you appreciate in your life right now, including perhaps what had to happen for you to be able to sit here now, beginning your practice of yoga. And then take a moment to set your intention for this practice today. What are you choosing to focus on and cultivate? And in the spirit of Ishvara Pranidhana, where we offer up our efforts to something greater than ourselves, to whom or what would you like to dedicate your practice to today? And together, let's open the practice by chanting the sound of interconnectedness, the sound of Om, 3 times. So breathe in a little deeper. And continuing to breathe slowly and deeply, let's begin to practice a breathing technique that helps us to balance our energy and calm and focus our mind body. It's called Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing, and it's done by closing the lips, breathing just through the nose if you can, and softly narrowing the back of the throat so that you're hearing a very smooth and gentle whispering sound as you lengthen your inhale as slowly as your exhale. So creating an even, steady rhythm to the breath. As you're listening to your breathing now, see if you can keep that sound rhythm going through much of our physical yoga, especially the first half, the vinyasa flow, the breath-led movement. So let's start to make our way onto our backs, and we're going to actually warm up the hips there. Lying down on your back and bending your knees towards your chest. Let's start with a gentle vinyasa flow in which you breathe in and circle your thighs apart. Exhale as you draw the knees together. Try that several more times so we're helping to lubricate and loosen up, warm up your hip joints. Switching directions a few times. And notice any sensations you're feeling, especially around your hips and your inner and outer thighs. We'll splay the thighs both apart, so bring the thighs into external rotation. And with your legs lifted off the ground, try to ground your tailbone and shoulders. Bring your hands to your outer feet. If you can't reach them here while lying down, use a strap as an extension of your arms and place it around your outer feet. Seal the soles of your feet together and start to wiggle your hips side to side so that you can encourage your thighs to maybe splay wider apart. So we're in a variation of Baddha Konasana, or bound angle pose. A few more deep breaths here. And then coming back to drawing your knees into your chest. Begin to rock and roll forward and back. Forward and back. Until eventually you can arrive standing at the front of your mat. Feet apart, hips distance, parallel in mountain pose. Let's join the hands together in prayer at the heart, reconnecting with your intention for your practice. And as you listen to the breath, let's begin our sun salutation, Surya Namaskar C, offering gratitude to the sun. On your next inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead, rolling your shoulders back and down. As you exhale, feel free to bend your knees and bow from your hips. Place your fingertips on the earth and inhale, step your left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge. Holding the breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. And as you exhale, lower your knees, lower your chest, and lower your chin. Slither forward, inhaling to cobra. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot beside your left thumb. Lower the right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step the right foot forward and bow. Press to the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms forward and rise, dropping your shoulders back. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer at your heart center. Second side, inhale, sweep your arms forward, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow from the hips, Uttanasana. Lower your fingertips. This time, inhale, step the right knee back, kneeling lunge, look up. Holding your breath, step into plank. Exhale, lower knees, then chest, then chin. Inhale, slide forward, entering cobra pose, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, lift your hips into downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step the left foot forward and bow. Press to the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms forward to rise all the way up. Exhale, join your hands in prayer at the heart. Moving into sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead again. Exhale, forward fold. This time, press your hands on your shins, blocks, or the ground as you inhale to stretch your spine forward into half forward fold. Then step into your version of plank with legs straight or knees on the ground. And this time, as you exhale, glide forward, lower halfway down, grazing the elbows towards your ribs. Then choose to inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. In downward dog, bring your feet together to touch and spread your fingers flat on the earth. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Now as you exhale, bend your right knee and rotate the thigh externally at the hip. So turn it out. As you stay here, inhale, tack your left outer hip back. Then exhale, bend the right knee towards your nose, high, rounding the back. Softly step your foot directly between your hands. Spin the left heel down and bring your right forearm onto your right thigh as you lean your torso towards your front wall. Rolling your right outer hip beneath you so that you splay your right bent knee to open towards your right pinky toe. Firming the ground with your outer left foot, left leg is straight, firm the top of the left thigh bone back and raise your left arm. Now from the left shoulder, spiral the tricep, which is your outer upper arm, to face the left wall. Then extend the left arm overhead towards the front of the room, drawing both shoulders down the back ribs. Feeling the breath come and go slowly. And as you spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, land your gaze on one point for another 3 breaths here in extended side angle pose. Utthita Parshvottanasana. Now keeping your right knee bent just as it is, inhale, rise up through warrior 2 and flip the right palm to face up. Peaceful warrior, side bend towards the back of the room. Then exhale your hands to the ground, step right into downward facing dog, bringing the feet together to touch. Let in a deep breath. Slowly let it go. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee and rotate the thigh externally at the hip. Staying here, inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Then exhale, round forward, bending the left knee towards your nose. Quietly step the foot directly between your hands. Spin the right heel down and bring the left forearm to your left thigh, raising the right arm towards the sky. Spin the right tricep to face the right wall. Then extend the right arm overhead towards the front wall, drawing both shoulders and your hips towards the rear edge of your mat. Spinning the chest slightly upwards, let your eyes soften onto one spot. Feel that you're wrapping your left outer hip beneath you here. Tuning in to 3 more breaths in Utthita Parshvottanasana, extended side angle pose. Keep the left knee bent as you inhale, rise, flip the left palm to face up, and side bend towards the rear wall in peaceful warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the hands into downward facing dog. Pause here for 2 slow breaths. When you've emptied the second, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Press your legs or the ground. Inhale, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, sweeping the arms forward, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, marry your palms in prayer at your heart. Let's stand tall here, preparing for tree pose. Shifting your weight onto your left foot, spread the left toes. Steady your gaze on something that's not moving, just in front of you a few feet ahead, and notice your breathing. Establish the feeling of balance you can hear in the breath. Now from your right hip socket, turn out your right thigh bone at the hip and hug the right foot against your inner left ankle. You can keep the toes on the floor. Or maybe against your inner calf. Or maybe you take the ankle and place the foot above your knee against the inner thigh. Now, hug your right foot with the left leg. So you're sandwiching towards the midline of your body energetically. And then feel the ground under your left foot. Can you press the ground away? Standing a little taller as you lift up through the back of your skull. Tuning in for a few more deep breaths. If your balance feels pretty stable, you might add the challenge of raising your arms, of looking up, closing the eyes. Vrikshasana. Join your hands in prayer at your heart and set the right foot down. Pause for a moment, maybe close the eyes and feel your body breathe. Reconnect to whom or what you are offering up your practice to today. Bringing that sense of devotion and love into the second side of tree pose. Shift your weight on right foot, steady your gaze, balance the breath. Rotate your left thigh bone externally at the hip. And maybe you start by keeping the toes on the ground as you firm the sole of your left foot against your inner right ankle, and the ankle hugs the foot back. If it feels pretty stable there and your hip is willing to go further, you might slide the foot up to your inner calf. If yet still very stable and still very open, maybe you rise up to the inner thigh. Just finding what's available without rushing through one step or the other, but being exactly where you are, feeling where your body is in the moment as you connect to your breathing. You might explore different variations of your arms or your gaze. Let's listen to our last 3 breaths here in your offering of Vrikshasana. And then when you're ready, set the left foot down and pause. Maybe close the eyes as you allow a few deep breaths. Let's step the feet wide apart so that if you're opening your arms, and of course you're facing the wide width of the mat here, your ankles are almost underneath your wrists, maybe slightly shorter stance than the arms. And then have a block behind each calf just in case. Maybe placing the blocks on the tallest height so you have more access. Now from your right hip socket, rotate your entire right leg to turn out 90 degrees to face the short edge of your mat. Turn in the left leg 45 degrees into that same direction. Aligning the right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, open up the arms for triangle pose. With legs straight, glide your hips sideways towards your left heel as you lengthen your torso past your right knee, setting the right hand down on your right leg, or just to the right of the leg, maybe on a block or the floor as you raise the left arm. Spinning your chest slightly to face the sky. Roll the right outer hip beneath you and tack the crease of that hip back. Feel the quality of your breath in Trikonasana. Let's take this same shape and balance on one leg in Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Take your time getting there. Steady your gaze on the ground just in front of your right foot. Steady your breath. Walk your right fingertips onto your block or the floor, about 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe out to the right corner. Drag your left foot forward and flex the foot off the ground, lengthening your torso forward as you spiral your chest open to your left. Maybe gazing up if your balance feels very steady. Half moon pose. On your next exhale, bend the right knee and softly step into Warrior Two, landing the left foot way back with the arms wide open. Pause for at least a breath in Warrior Two. Then straighten your legs, parallel your feet, come into that neutral beginning stance. So now let's turn out the left thigh at the hip, pivoting the foot 90 degrees to face the opposite short edge of the mat. And turn in the the right leg turns in 45 degrees. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot and then open your arms. Glide your hips sideways towards your right heel and lengthen your torso past your left knee. Lower the left hand on your left shin lightly or on a block or the floor just to the left of the shin where arm and leg can press against each other while spinning your chest slightly to face the sky. Deep breaths here in Trikonasana. Now gazing at the floor just ahead of your left foot, keep the breath steady and calm. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Walk your block or your left fingertips only about 6 inches ahead of your left pinky toe out to the left corner. Drag your right foot forward and flex the foot off the floor, recreating the shape of triangle pose while balancing on your left foot. Full breaths here, steadying your gaze, Rudrashti. And when you're ready, bend the left knee and softly step the right foot all the way back into Warrior Two. Pause for a deep breath. And one more time, let's parallel our feet in a wide stance. This time, preparing for a wide-legged forward fold as we transition into the yin portion of our practice. So bring the hands behind you to clasp or hold a strap between the hands and roll your shoulders back and down. Make sure your feet are parallel to each other. Then exhale, begin to hinge forward slowly from the hips, bending the knees if you need so that you're not rounding your back. Completely drop your head, soften the neck, soften the jaw, and stretch your arms away from the lower back, opening the front of your shoulders. Bending the elbows slightly, lift the shoulder bones to create more space in the neck. If your head is not touching the ground, you might gently shake it out, nod the head. Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Now lower your fingertips onto the ground or onto blocks and press the hands down as you stretch the top of your head forward. Now keep the pelvis still and place your left hand, and I'm not mirroring you here, on the ground or block, front and center. Raise your right arm and begin to twist to your right. So you're twisting across the waistline, trying to keep the hips both leveled. As you breathe in, keep stretching your spine forward. Glide your shoulder blades down your back ribs. And as you breathe out, keep the pelvis still while rotating the right ribs towards the sky. Last few breaths in this twist. Replace the left hand with the right. Keep the pelvis balanced as you breathe in to stretch the top of your head forward. And as you breathe out to twist to your left, raising your left arm up. On an exhale, lower the left hand, then crawl the fingertips towards the front of your mat and pivot to face the front in a lunge. Step back into downward facing dog. Let's prepare for single pigeon pose as we continue our hip openers. From downward dog, rotate your right thigh to turn out at the hip. Cross your right shin in front of your pelvis as you lower to sit down with the left leg straight behind you. Tuck the back toes, and with your hands alongside your hips, lift your pelvis off the floor and draw your right outer hip back. Rotate your left outer hip forward until your two frontal hip bones are equally facing the front of your mat. Now, if there's a gap between your right glute and the ground, fill that gap with your blanket or any prop. And then relax the back toes. If your right shin is parallel to the front edge of your mat, then make sure you're flexing your right foot to stabilize your right knee. As you breathe in, hands in front of you, lift your chest. And then take your time. Feel free to grab whatever props, place them in front of you to stack. Maybe just a block, maybe several, a pillow and a block, so that you can rest your torso and your head all the way down. We're going to be here for the next 2 more minutes. Letting your awareness continue to rest on the sound and feeling of your breath. As you continue to notice the breath, begin to press your hands into the ground, leaving your props where they are. Slowly and gradually lift your head and step back into downward facing dog. Spend a few breaths there, whether you pedal out your feet and swivel your hips, or you raise the right leg and move it around, especially at the hip socket. When you're ready for the second side, start in downward facing dog and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Then cross the left shin in front of your pelvis as you lower to sit with your right leg straight behind you and the toes tucked. Placing your hands alongside your hips, lift your pelvis off the floor and tack your left outer hip back. Rotate your right outer hip forward. And maybe place a prop under your left glute if that's helpful. Place the hands in front of you and untuck the back toes. Breathe in as you lift your chest. Take your time to slowly lower into whatever configuration of props you may need on the second side. Be them higher, lower, or the same. And we'll be here listening to the breath for about 2 more minutes. Be very gentle, not rushing as you transition, but taking your time to slowly lift your head, your torso. And once again, eventually step back into downward facing dog. You might pedal your feet out or raise the left leg and move it around at the hip. Let's eventually lower to sit with your legs in front of you. Grab a strap and let's lie down on our backs. Just set the strap aside for now. And well, actually we'll start with a strap. So go ahead and bend your right knee into your chest. Take hold of your right thigh or shin and step the ball of your right foot into the strap or into the loop of the strap. Kick into the strap with your right foot flex and extend your right leg up towards the sky. Now hold the strap only in your right hand. Some of you, if you can keep your head and shoulders on the floor and reach your right big toe to clasp, but then you could put the strap aside and hold the big toe instead. If you can reach it without having to lift the head and shoulders off the floor. And then with your left palm, press down onto the top of your left thigh and slide your left leg straight on the ground, flexing both feet. Now keep the back of your left hip on the floor and start by externally rotating your right thigh bone at the hip. So rotating so that the right knee begins to point towards the right wall. Now slowly with a breath, begin to open your right leg out to your right side, only to the degree in which the back of your left hip can remain on the ground. We're not collapsing the leg, keeping it active here. And we're gonna be here for just another 2 minutes, just like in single pigeon. Full breaths. As that right leg is off to the right, think of drawing your right sitting bone, that bone at the bottom of the right glute, towards your inner left heel so as to lengthen the right side of your torso from your armpit to your outer hip. A few more deep breaths here. Now, go ahead and release the strap and bending both knees, wrap your right thigh over your left thigh so that you can hug the thighs as close together as possible. Keep your head and shoulders down. You could also put your head on a blanket if you need a pillow. And with your hands, take hold of your outer feet. If you can't reach them, hold your shins or hold the backs of your thighs. Ground the back of your pelvis and splay your feet as wide apart as you can while drawing your thighs towards your chest. We're in supine cow face pose or Supta Gomukhasana. Now keep the wrap of your legs unless you've got really, really stiff lower back. Then you can just hug the knees together like this. And let's prepare for a supine spinal twist. Slide your pelvis about 3 to 5 more inches towards the right edge of your mat. Open your right arm out to the right. Ground the right shoulder. You could also stretch the neck by gazing past the right shoulder. And then lift your feet and begin to just slowly drop your knees to your left side. Now, if your right shoulder wants to lift off the ground, back off and put a pillow or any props underneath your outer left leg. To deepen the stretch in your lower back here, you could press your left hand against your outer right hip, tilting the hip towards the front of your mat. Slowly begin to lower onto your back. Stretch the legs forward on the ground. Stretch the arms overhead. And inhale fully through the nose. Open the mouth. Exhale any sound. Maybe circle out the feet or point the toes. Once again, a lion's breath. Breathe in fully through the nose. Let any sound out as you open your mouth and stick out the tongue. Step your feet onto the ground and bend your left knee towards your chest. Take hold of the thigh or shin. Step the ball of your left foot into your strap. As you flex your left foot, kick it against the strap and straighten your left leg up towards the sky. Hold the strap only in your left hand. Now again, if your shoulders can remain on the ground, head is relaxed too, and you're able to reach hold of your left big toe with your left peace fingers, that you could put the strap aside. Now with your right hand, press the top of your right thigh down while you straighten the right leg forward and flex the right foot too. Tune into your breathing. From your left hip socket, externally rotate your left thigh bone at the hip. Then little by little begin to open your left leg or abduct it out to the left, just to the degree in which the back of your right hip can remain on the floor. We're here for 2 minutes. As we're here in supine hand to big toe pose, or Supta Uttita Hasta Parangusthasana, think of drawing your left sitting bone forward towards your inner right heel so as to lengthen the left side of your torso. Now go ahead and put the strap aside as you bend both knees again, this time wrapping your left thigh on top of your right thigh and hugging your thighs as close together as possible. With your hands, take hold of your outer feet, shins or thighs, and splay the feet apart while resting the head and shoulders down, the pelvis down on the ground, and drawing your thighs towards your chest in Supta Gomukhasana, supine cow face pose. Be in the flow of the waves of breath. Now let's set up for a supine twist. You can keep the left leg wrapped on top, or if you didn't cross the legs in your last twist, then have the legs side by side like this. Slide your pelvis about 3 to 5 inches towards the left edge of your mat. Open your left arm wide on the floor, grounding the shoulder. You might stretch the neck by gazing past the left shoulder. Then lift your feet and slowly drop your knees to your right side. Remember, you could catch your legs with a pillow if needed. And if your lower back is needing a deeper release, place the right hand on your left outer hip and press it away from you towards the front of your mat. Then gently roll onto your back and stretch your legs forward on the floor. Once again, stretch the arms overhead and allow a few deep cleansing sighs out through the mouth. You might rotate your feet take your time making your way up to sit. As we set up for another pranayama to help us relax even more deeply for Shavasana and meditation. Your hips might be quite open to practice in lotus pose or half lotus pose. Be gentle with your knees and make sure you're rotating the thighs at the hip sockets, not rotating the knees sideways. So you might begin by straightening one leg forward and turning out the opposite thigh and bringing the ankle of your turned out leg high towards the crease of the opposite hip. And then here you could have the bottom leg bent underneath, or, so this is half lotus, or without torquing the legs, be gentle, remember not to twist a knee. You can take that bottom leg and place the ankle at the crease of the opposite hip. This is lotus pose, often called the meditation seats. So find your way to be able to breathe well, sitting grounded, open, and relaxed. And I'll invite you into alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, to help us tune inward, balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain, and relax your energy. So when we're practicing it, you might close your eyes, but before we start, let's get a few things set. Resting your left hand on your lap, you may want to bring the left hand in Gyan Mudra to help concentrate inward. And that's resting the palm face up with the thumb and the index fingers touching like this. Now placing your right hand in Vishnu Mudra, stick out the thumb, pinky, and ring fingers. As you close the lips and breathe very softly, very quietly, just through the nose. We'll use the right thumb to close the right nostril like this. We'll use the right ring and pinky fingers to close the left nostril like this. Alternate nostril breathing. Let's practice 3 cycles of this breathing technique together, and then continue 3 cycles on your own before letting go of controlling the breath. So prepare to start by emptying this breath. With the right thumb, close your right nostril. Inhale through left for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 2, 1. Close left, exhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Inhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Close right, exhale left, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Second cycle. Inhale left for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Close left, exhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Inhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Close right, exhale left, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 1. Third cycle. Inhale left, 6. Hold 2. Close left, exhale right, 6. Hold 2. Inhale right, 6. Hold 2. Close right, exhale left, 6. Hold 2. Continue 3 more cycles on your own. When you finish at your pace, rest into natural breathing while you observe how you feel. When you feel ready, please gently begin to lower your body entirely onto the floor. Feel free to use any props as you set up for Shavasana, corpse pose. Find a position in which you can lie down restfully and be still for a few minutes while staying aware, being present. As you rest a little longer, notice the way your body feels now. Sense the effects of your practice. Little by little, start to wake up your body in any movement or stretch. Keeping the eyes closed. gradually turn over onto your right side and rest your head there for a few moments. Noticing the quality of your natural breath and sensing how you feel now in your energy. Then take your time lifting your body up again. Please find a comfortable way to sit tall for sitting meditation, 5 minutes. Once again, you might place your hands in Gyan Mudra or another mudra of your choice, maybe closing the eyes. As you breathe naturally, you might begin by resting your awareness softly on the feeling of the breath flowing in and out. And in the practice of Ishvara Pranidhana, you might call to mind who inspires you to dedicate your practice to today. To what did you choose to offer up your efforts in devotion? As you contemplate that being or your higher self or universal consciousness, great spirit, whatever it is for you, I invite you to rest your awareness on the loving relationship you have with this greater being. Every day connecting to that deep inspiration within, that source within, the practice of Ishvara Pranidhana. Notice how your heart and mind feel now. Connecting with gratitude, I invite you to recognize anyone, anything you appreciate in this moment. And remind yourself of your intention for this practice. Remember to whom you dedicated this practice. And together, let's close chanting Om 3 times. Let in a deep breath. Bowing in towards your heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.